Millionaire discovers a devastating secret about his daughter's protector at midnight. The clock struck 12, echoing through the dark mansion like a harbinger of doom. Lawrence Black, a successful millionaire with a life many envied, stood frozen in his opulent study, the shadows dancing around him. His heart raced. He had just stumbled across a piece of paper hidden inside a dusty old chest, its edges yellowed with age. The words were more than just ink on pages. They were a storm brewing, a tempest waiting to unleash chaos. His daughter, Lily, had always trusted her protector, an enigmatic figure named Adrian, but the secrets whispered in those pages spoke of betrayal so deep that it could shatter everything he held dear. Strange things had happened lately. Adrian's unexplained absences, the furtive glances exchanged between him and Lily. What had been mere intuitions now morphed into jagged suspicions that clawed at Lawrence's gut. He had numerous enemies, the kind who smile while plotting your downfall. But Adrian? The man he hired to guard his daughter with his life? The man who claimed to love her as fiercely as a father? The thought struck him harder than any blow. With sweaty palms, he turned towards the door, ready to confront his daughter and demand answers. But the flickering lights overhead seemed to taunt him, as if the house itself was holding its breath. The mansion creaked and groaned, shadows melting into threatening forms. Everything around him felt charged, as if the walls themselves had ears. A sense of urgency clawed at him. There wasn't much time. He had to find Adrian before a web of deceit ensnared Lily completely. He cursed under his breath, fingers trembling, and rushed out of the study into the grand hallway. Each step echoed, sounding louder in the stillness. What if he was too late? What if Lily loved this man, trusted him, while he was nothing but a wolf in sheep's clothing? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Lawrence flung open the nursery door, heart in his throat. The room was eerily quiet, scattered toys casting ominous shadows across the walls. Lily. He called out, desperation bubbling in his chest. The silence that answered him was deafening. Had Adrian taken her? Had that vile traitor dared to put his hands on his daughter? Every fiber of Lawrence's being screamed to protect her, to shield her from whatever dark truth lingered in the air. As he turned, an icy breeze blew through, the window unexpectedly creaking open. He felt it, a shift in the atmosphere, a pulse of something unnatural. And then, a low voice like gravel whispered from the shadows, "You shouldn't have come here, Lawrence." Suddenly, everything about Adrian and the truth he uncovered flashed before his eyes. There it was, the mystery, the question that could change everything. Who was this man really? And what darkness really lay beneath the surface? Lawrence's heart thudded violently against his ribs, a primal instinct kicking in. He turned slowly, dreading what he might see, dread pooling in his stomach like acid. The figure emerging from the shadows was unmistakably Adrian, his expression blank yet menacing, a mask of calm that screamed danger. "Where's my daughter?" Lawrence's voice broke through the stillness, filled with anger and a desperation he didn't bother to hide. "Well, that depends." Adrian's voice slithered through the air, cold and mocking. "On how curious you really are." Lawrence took a step back instinctively, the weight of the truth pressing down on him. The papers remained clenched in his fist like a lifeline. "You've been hiding things from me. From Lily. What have you done?" Adrian stepped closer, the light casting long shadows across his angular face. "I didn't think you would care enough to look." His eyes sparkled with mischief that twisted Lawrence's gut. "But perhaps you deserve to know." Deserve? The word hung in the air like a death knell. Lawrence felt the walls closing in, the luxurious surroundings suddenly turning sinister. "If you've hurt her, I swear hurt her." Adrian cut him off, a wicked grin spreading across his face. You should be more worried about what she might uncover herself. It's a family matter, Lawrence. Perhaps one you should have been aware of long ago. What the hell are you talking about? Lawrence demanded, fists clenched at his sides. She's just a girl. She doesn't need to be dragged into your twisted games. Is that truly what you think? Adrian leaned in, his breath ghosting over Lawrence's ear. Some games are bigger than they seem. And some truths, well, they don't stay buried forever. Lawrence felt the world spin around him, a mix of anger and fear rising like bile in his throat. This man, who he had trusted with his daughter's safety, had turned into something unspeakable. You're threatening Lily, not threatening. Protecting. Adrian's tone changed, softening, almost affectionate. You see, Lawrence, it's not just about you and me. It's about bloodlines, legacy, and the secrets that can tear a family apart. And right now, I am the only thing keeping your precious Lily safe from the truth from those who would do her harm. Panic surged within Lawrence. What truth? What are you hiding? The silence that followed was palpable. Adrian's eyes glinted as if he held the answers to sins long forgotten. You really want to find out? In that heavy silence, Lawrence weighed his options. He could confront Adrian, demand to know everything, but would it push his daughter deeper into the villainous grasp? Or he could play along, feign ignorance, and try to protect Lily from whatever darkness loomed ahead. I'll find her, Lawrence said finally, steeling himself. I want to let you pull her into your games. A chuckle escaped Adrian's lips, chilling Lawrence to the bone. You're welcome to try. But be warned, sometimes knowing is worse than not knowing at all. With a swift motion, Adrian stepped back into the shadows, leaving only a whisper against the silence of the night. The clock is ticking for sweet Lily. Lawrence stood there, breathless, thoughts racing. What was Adrian not telling him? What darkness had he released into their lives? The unanswered questions loomed like storm clouds threatening to break. He turned toward the door, determination flooding his veins. He needed to find Lily, to shield her from this danger. But what if she had already uncovered too much? In the halls of the old mansion, the air crackled with tension. The clock echoed in the background, and behind every shadow lurked a truth waiting to be unveiled. Would Lily stand with him, or would she choose to believe the man who had kept her in the dark? Lawrence burst through the mansion's heavy wooden doors, the cold night air hitting him like a slap to the face. His heart raced, each beat louder than the last, and he could taste fear on his tongue. Where could Lily be? Each room he passed felt eerie and vacant, shadows stretching like long fingers across the walls, as if grasping for him in warning. Lily! He called out, his voice echoing back to him, empty and desolate. Panic twisted in his gut, a gut feeling that gnawed at him, that told him something was terribly wrong. He had to fight against the paralyzing dread, had to keep moving, keep searching. Every corner of the house felt like a secret waiting to ambush him, and all he could do was race through them, calling her name louder, growing frantic. He thought only of her face, the way her laughter lit up a room. It was an image he would do anything to preserve. As he ascended the staircase, the sound of his footsteps resonated against the marble like an unwanted reminder of loneliness. What if Adrian was right? What if she had stumbled onto something too big to handle? The thought twisted like a knife in his heart. Every instinct told him to shield his daughter, to save her from the unknown horror Adrian hinted at. He reached her room at the end of the hall, the door ajar. He pushed it open, a rush of dread and hope mingling in his chest. The room was still, eerily so. The moonlight cascaded through the window, illuminating the empty bed, the unmade sheets where she should have been tucked in. His heart sank. Where are you, Lily? Just then, a faint noise floated from the adjacent study. Lawrence crept forward, each step measured and cautious. A part of him wanted to shout, to call out again, but another part, perhaps the wiser part, urged silence. What if Adrian was already in the house? He pushed the door to the study open, the hinges creaking like an old man's bones. Thick shadows crawled around him, and the chilling air prickled his skin. His eyes landed on something that made his stomach drop. She stood there, illuminated by the dim light of a desk lamp, looking through the papers sprawled across the desk. The sight of her was a mixture of relief and despair. She looked so small and alone, yet so determined. "Lily," he breathed out, his emotions overwhelming him. She turned, startled. "Dad." Her face paled, but then her sharp gaze turned defiant. "What are you doing here?" "I came to find you. We need to go, now," he said, urgency lacing his tone. She shook her head, her brow furrowing. "No, you need to listen to me. I think Adrian is dangerous." He interrupted, stepping toward her. "We don't have time for this. Whatever he told you, no, Dad." Her voice rose, cracking with frustration. "You need to see this." She gestured to the papers littered on the desk, dotted with images and notes that looked all too familiar. His breath caught. "What is this?" "I think it's about us, about our family, about Adrian," she whispered, bringing up a photograph. Lawrence recoiled in shock, his mind racing. The image was grainy and old, but he recognized the faces. Family members he hadn't seen in years, faces he thought he'd buried along with their secrets. "Lily, put that down." But it was too late. Emotions surged within him, anger and fear waging war. The truth loomed before him, dark and twisted, ready to ensnare them both. "I can't stand by while you let him control us. I want to know the truth." As the words left her mouth, the shadows flickered, and Lawrence heard a sound behind him that froze him in his tracks, the creaking of floorboards, the unmistakable sound of someone approaching. They were not alone. "Lily," he whispered urgently, "we need to hide." But as he grabbed her arm, the door swung open, and there stood Adrian, a smirk plastered across his face. "Looking for the truth, I see." Lawrence's pulse pounded in his ears as the gravity of Adrian's presence sunk in like a weight that threatened to pull them down. And just like that, the game was far from over. The clock continued to tick, but this time, it was not just time that was running out. What twisted revelation would unearth itself next? Lawrence felt an electric shock run through him as Adrian's smirk widened, filling the small room with an intoxicating sense of menace. The fleeting moment of relief at seeing Lily vanished, replaced by a primal instinct to protect her. Adrian stepped forward, his eyes glinting with cold amusement. "Ah, father and daughter reunited at last," he said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "I must admit, I didn't expect you to find her here. I figured you'd be too busy pretending everything was normal." "Get away from her!" Lawrence shouted, stepping defensively in front of Lily. The unkempt room seemed to shrink around them, the shadows closing in as tension thickened the air. Adrian chuckled, undeterred. "Is that really how you think this works, Lawrence? You're putting on quite the show, but you know I'm not leaving without everything I came for." He gestured dramatically to the papers splayed out behind him. "And it seems your little princess has dug up some treasures." "You're sick," Lawrence spat, anger rising in his voice. "Am I? Or am I simply the messenger of truths you'd rather remain buried?" Adrian's gaze shifted to Lily, his expression shifting to one of mock seriousness. "You want answers, Lily? You want to learn about your family history? I can give you what your father never could." "No!" she exclaimed, stepping forward, but Lawrence held her back, gripping her arm firmly. They were caught in a game of threats, and neither had time for Adrian's twisted revelations. "Think carefully, Lawrence," Adrian mocked, his voice gravelly with menace. "You can't shield her forever. The world is dark, and your little fairy tale is more fragile than you think." The weight of each word was like an insistent hammer, clawing at Lawrence's resolve. The hulking figure of Adrian loomed large in the dim light, shadows rolling off him like smoke. "She deserves the truth, no matter how painful," Adrian insisted. "She deserves to know who you really are." In that split second, Lawrence's protective instincts kicked into overdrive. He had to keep Lily from this man's grasp. He couldn't let her hear whatever horrific revelation Adrian had prepared, whatever sordid whispers about their past he intended to unleash. "Don't listen to him, Lily." Lawrence's voice shook with rampant anxiety. "Let us go. Right now." "Dad," she hesitated, torn between fear and the insatiable desire for knowledge. Enough! Adrian roared, his patience wearing thin. The air around them crackled as he stepped closer, breaths heavy with foreboding. You think you can simply run away? I've waited too long for this. This is your family legacy. Lawrence's mind raced, plotting a desperate escape from this prison of heartache and truth. He glanced toward the window, a sliver of moonlight illuminating his path. If you want to know the truth, Lily, Adrian continued, his voice lowering, cultivating that sinister intimacy, it begins with understanding what happens when you betray your own blood. Before Lawrence could react, Adrian lunged, reaching towards the papers he'd left scattered on the desk. Lily, stay back! Lawrence yelled, pulling her tightly to his side. But it was too late. Adrian had already snatched a photograph from the pile and held it aloft, looking directly at Lily, the smirk returning. You see, my dear, this is where it all began. Your father isn't just a millionaire. There's another side to him, one that's tied to our past. Lawrence felt his heart stutter. Hope twisted into dread for what Adrian was about to reveal, the secrets that could unravel everything, could sever the only bond he had left with his daughter. Enough games! Lawrence shouted, but Adrian had the microphone, the audience was entranced, and the truth was looming larger than life. As the photograph dangled in the air like a noose, the tension surged beyond his control, filling the room with a palpable energy that sent chills racing down his spine. What was in that image? What darkness was about to shatter the fragile peace, and just like that, the darkness of long-buried secrets threatened to swallow them whole. Would truth be their salvation or their doom? The silence clung heavily in the room, thick as fog, an unbearable pause that felt endless. Lawrence's breath quickened as he clenched his fists, a tide of emotions crashing inside him. The snapshot Adrian held felt like a ticking time bomb, ready to shatter their fragile world. Lily, he warned, trying to edge her even closer, stay behind me. But Adrian's gaze was laser-focused on her. You should see this, Lily, he said, a hint of twisted glee in his voice. You deserve to know what kind of man your father really is. Are you ready? Look. Lawrence felt panic slice through him. Don't. He hollered, lunging toward Adrian, but fear rooted him in place. The truth lay at the mercy of temptation. Look, my sweet girl. Adrian taunted, flaunting the photograph like a trophy. It's not just your father's wealth that makes him fascinating. It's the secrets, the betrayals. Everything is connected. In that instant, Adrian flipped the photo towards Lily. Lawrence's heart dropped. Lily stared wide-eyed for a moment, confusion flickering across her face. Lawrence risked a glance, and what he saw froze him to the bone. The image, it was old but unmistakable, depicted a younger version of himself in a tight-knit group, faces ignited with laughter, but something sinister was woven into their expressions. Shadows of anguish loomed behind the smiles. Is that? Lily whispered, her voice thick with disbelief. She turned to her father, searching his eyes for answers. Adrian stepped forward, milking the tension. This is your family, Lily. Those smiles? Just a mask for the truth hidden underneath. And your father? He's the king of deception. No, no, no. Lawrence choked out, a desperate plea rooted in the depths of his lungs. That's not enough. Adrian interrupted, his eyes sparkling. Not only is this about bloodline. It's about betrayal that wove through generations, deals made with the devil, he sneered. Tell her, Lawrence. Tell her how you led a double life. Lawrence suppressed a visceral surge of rage. Adrian, you're lying. This is nonsense. You're manipulating her. He felt Lily's tension radiate beside him, her instincts battling against all she thought she knew. Am I? Adrian growled, his voice edged with malevolence. What if I told you that your father's name is tied to darkness? Real darkness? Money that came with blood on his hands? You should know the truth before he drags you into his abyss. Stop. Lawrence exploded, stepping into Adrian's space. You don't know anything about us. But it felt like a hollow claim against the weight of instinctive dread. Why had he hidden parts of his past? Protecting Lily from knowing about the life he once lived felt righteous, but Adrian was cracking the facade, and the force of revelation poured through the cracks like poison. Leave us alone, Lily said, her voice shaking, but there was steel behind it too. I don't want to hear any of this. Do you think you can just will the past away? Adrian's smile was a snare, tightening around them. You have the right to choose. But these aren't just stories, they are the bones of your legacy. The room felt alive, vibrating with tension. Lawrence's heart hammered in his chest, thumping against desperation and shame. Was revealing the truth truly the answer? Let me show you something else, Lily, Adrian offered, a whisper that curled like smoke. Something that would shatter everything you thought you knew. The air seemed to crackle with Adrian's challenge. Lawrence felt trapped, suspended between defending his daughter and losing her to the very secrets he sought to protect. As the moment stretched, time seemed to snap. Adrian's hand ready to reveal yet another piece of the puzzle. What horrifying truth awaited them now? And would it confirm their worst fears? Lily, you have to trust me, Lawrence began, but he could see her resolve wavering. What was she about to discover? Would it bind them tighter, or tear them apart forever? Adrian held the photograph like it was a loaded gun, deliberately teasing them with its contents. The silence hung thick, only punctuated by the ragged breaths filling the space around them. Lawrence felt each breath pull him deeper into the mire of panic, praying the floor would open up and swallow him whole. Lily hesitated, her eyes darting between the photo and her father. The shock was palpable, her face a canvas of confusion and hurt. What is going on? She asked, trying to steady herself, but it was a futile grip against the tsunami of secrets crashing down around her. Tell her the truth. Adrian urged, eyes glinting like a predator savoring the moment before the kill. Don't keep her in the dark, Lawrence. Don't let her walk blindly into this monster of a world. Lawrence's voice cracked under the pressure. Lily, please, just listen to me. This isn't what it seems. It's a trick. Adrian is liar. You're a coward, hiding from the truth. Adrian shot back. You've always played the hero, but you can't outrun your past. Your legacy, her legacy, is stained with darkness. The words pierced through Lawrence like daggers. He could feel the walls closing in. Suddenly, Lily stepped forward, her chin raised defiantly. What did you do, Dad? The vulnerability in her voice mingled with a fierce demand for truth. Lily, he faltered. Everything he had fought to protect now teetered on the edge, swaying under Adrian's mounting pressure. I made mistakes. I was trying to protect you. There are things you need to understand. The brightness in Lily's eyes dimmed as she soaked in the words. Protect me from what? From who you are? From the past that defines our family? Or is it from the man he says you are? Are you really that man? Adrian stepped back, satisfied. The seeds of doubt had been planted, and now it was time to watch them grow. There's more, sweet girl, he said, his voice smooth as silk. Much more. The truth is rarely pretty, and it doesn't play by your rules. Lawrence felt time slipping through his fingers. No, don't listen to him. He's manipulating the situation. I'm still your father. I love you. It's only love if you're honest. She shot back, and her words felt like a slap that echoed against the walls. Lawrence's heart sank. He could see that line between them blurring. With swift conviction, Adrian brought up another photo, larger this time, and held it high for all to see. Look at this one, Lily. A birthday party. The picture displayed a lavish gathering, filled with laughter, yet Lawrence recognized the dark undertones. The man in the corner, eyes full of malice, whispering conspiracies. Do you want to know who that is? Adrian's voice lowered, wrapping around them like a vice. It's your father's partner, the man who taught him everything about deceit. Lily's breath hitched, her face turning pale. What does that mean? Who are you? Lawrence felt nausea creep into his gut. He had wanted to shield her from these shadows, but it felt like the very universe was closing in, highlighting every grim secret. Your father is part of a lineage dating back to betrayal, corruption, and greed. And now, it's your choice, Adrian pressed, leaning closer to Lily, who looked torn. Lawrence felt like a drowning man gasping for breath, desperate to pull her out of the storm. You're stronger than this, Lily. Don't let him feed you lies. For a moment, it seemed like a spark flickered in her eyes. Hope. Desperation. But then the uncertainty washed over her again. Which path do you want to follow? Adrian continued, his voice hauntingly calm. The path of truth? Or the comforting lies built on a foundation of filth? Remember, every choice has consequences. As the last remnants of light from the setting sun disappeared behind the horizon, leaving them cloaked in darkness, the weight of impending doom pressed heavily on them all. Would one photograph unleash an avalanche of consequences? Lawrence braced himself, fighting against the tide of despair. If he lost her now, it would be for good. What truth would Lily ultimately embrace? Would she stand with him, or follow the compelling darkness Adrian so enticingly painted? The air vibrated with tension, the future hanging by a thread. Lily's gaze wandered between her father and Adrian, the storm of emotions churning within her. Each heartbeat felt like a countdown. I want the truth, she said finally, her voice firm yet shaken. I can handle it. Can you? Adrian's lips twisted into a sly grin, as if he held all the cards. The truth can shatter everything you hold dear, sweet girl. Lawrence felt the room shrink. This isn't the way, he insisted. You don't know what you're asking for. Adrian doesn't want to help you, he wants to break us apart. Stop it. Lily shouted, her eyes sparking with anger. For an instant, her father saw the fierce woman she was growing into, but it was overshadowed by the boyish fear beneath it. Just tell me. Adrian let out a low chuckle. You see, Lawrence? She's just a few words away from the revelation that could change her life forever. He took a step closer to Lily. Your family didn't build itself from the ground up. There was blood, the kind you don't speak about in polite company. The weight of the accusation hung in the air. Lawrence clenched his fists, his heart pounding. It's not true. I've worked hard. What I did to protect you. You have to believe that. Your father was more than a mere businessman, Adrian continued, ignoring Lawrence's protests. He was entangled in dealings that would make even the vilest criminals cringe. And what I've come to show you today, dear Lily, can open your eyes to the horrors of your heritage. Stop. Lawrence's voice was a desperate plea, but it only fueled Adrian's momentum. Lily stood tall, her back straightening. I want to hear this, she said. The resolve in her voice felt like she was bracing for impact. What if I told you, Adrian began, drawing in a deep breath, that those laughing faces at the birthday party were intimately familiar with your father's schemes? That your family name is synonymous with betrayal? That the very people in those photographs, the ones smiling so wide, were almost certainly involved in heinous acts? No. Lawrence shook his head violently, fear racing in his chest. Adrian, you must understand, this is manipulation. You have no right. I have every right, Adrian snapped, cutting him off with a glare as sharp as a knife. I'm the one who dared breach these walls of silence. Now it's time for her to see. To choose if this is the legacy she'll accept, or if she'll break free of the chains you've put on her. Lily looked torn, her expression shifting. What do you mean? What do you know? The tremble in her voice betrayed the calm she sought to project. Adrian leaned closer, lowering his voice. Your father has been masking secrets for years, Lily. He's a guard dog, snarling at shadows, but the monster is inside. Isn't that why you're standing here, trapped in this tug-of-war? He paused, gauging the impact of his words. Wouldn't you want to be free? To know what it means to be truly alive? Lawrence felt as if a vice grip tightened around his chest. You don't mean that, Lily. We have a good life. Your future is bright. Don't let him cloud your mind with his lies. Adrian's brow furrowed, but his voice remained low and sweet. But it's a false light, isn't it? You've been living in a gilded cage, sweet girl. Isn't it time to see if the door is unlocked? You could find a life filled with purpose, away from this web of deception. Tears welled in Lily's eyes, and Lawrence felt a lurch of panic. This was slipping away. No. It's not worth it, Lily. He's a serpent, and you let her decide. Adrian shouted, silencing him. Let her take control of her destiny. Lily hesitated, eyes darting between the two men, fury and fear battling in her chest. I need to know. The desperation in her voice reverberated off the walls, making Lawrence's heart crack. Very well, Adrian replied, his voice now a whisper that vibrated with anticipation. Let us reveal the deepest shadows of your family's history. Let the truth unfurl like a wounded flag in the night. Anticipation electrified the air. Heartbeats quickened, breaths caught. Could this be the moment everything changed? Would they stumble into a truth too horrifying to bear? As the first words fell from Adrian's lips, slicing through the tension like a blade, Lawrence braced for the revelation that could shatter everything. What dark secrets would be unveiled at last, and how would it change their lives forever? Adrian cleared his throat, drawing them both into an unsettling calm. Let us start with the name Blackwood, he said, slowly articulating each syllable as if it were a confession. Your family didn't just make money, they drew it from the misfortune of others. Did you know your father's closest allies aren't who they seem? They're breathing specters, lurking behind a facade of normalcy. With every word, Lily's heart hammered in her chest, pulsating with disbelief and nagging dread. She glanced at her father, desperate for an anchor, but all she saw was a mask of pain. Your grandfather, Adrian pressed on, he started a business born from an act of treachery. The day he claimed a rival's land, people lost everything. Homes, lives they were cast aside like refuse. No. That can't be right. The tremor in Lily's voice barely masked her uncertainty. The world she had known was constructed from a set of cherished memories, not sinister deeds. Can't it? Adrian leaned closer, firing his words like bullets. The Blackwoods are known for their ruthlessness. Every acquisition came at a price, often paid in blood. Your father, he's the last remnant of that darkness clinging to the power like a drowning man to a lifeboat. Lawrence's breath hitched, a cold wave of panic washing over him. You're twisting the story. It was a different time, a different world. Things aren't the same anymore. But his voice quivered, betraying certainty. Is that what you tell yourself to sleep at night? Adrian retorted sharply, eyes gleaming with the thrill of the storm he was conjuring. Or do you find it easier to hide the truth beneath your comfortable lies? Lily's knees felt weak, her mind racing. Had her childhood been built on sins she couldn't fathom? Why do you know this? She demanded, turning on Adrian, who only smiled with unyielding confidence. Because I've lived it, dear Lily. I dug deep into the past, unearthing alliances and debts that would make your blood run cold. He paused, letting the gravity of his words seep into her. And do you know what I found? A vault, a hidden ledger, tracing bloodlines to crimes that can't be buried. You're not just a delicate flower, you're a product of that legacy. No. Lawrence shouted, stepping forward, fists clenched. This is lunacy. You're poisoning her mind. But the desperation in his voice only spurred Adrian on, a wolf reveling in chaos. The truth is liberating if you choose it, Lily. Imagine what you could uncover about yourself, a fierce woman with fire, not chained to the past. Struggling to breathe, Lily felt her world teetering dangerously. What do you want from me? Freedom, Adrian replied, his tone now soothing, almost hypnotic. I want you to sever your ties from this legacy of shadows. Embrace your power and stand against the ties that bind you. Adrian, stop. Lawrence's voice lowered to a harsh whisper, filled with raw desperation. You're losing her with your lies. Am I? Adrian shot back, swinging his gaze to Lily. What I've said, sweet girl, will set you free. Or you can stay chained to the weight of your family's sins. Lily's heart raced, her mind a storm of thoughts and emotions. What kind of freedom could she find in a truth shrouded in horror? Was this truly a choice she could embrace? The room crackled with electricity, tension curling around them like smoke. She felt every pair of eyes in the room burning into her, waiting. Would she find the courage to peel back the layers of her own life? Adrian's smirk faded, drawn back by her silence. Choose wisely, Lily. This is the moment that can redefine your very existence. As the last echoes of his words faded, the silence enveloped her, stretching taut. The weight of generations pressed on her shoulders, demanding a decision. Did she dare to unveil the darkness of her family, or would she walk away, forever haunted by unknowing? Outside, thunder rumbled again, a reminder of the storm brewing, just waiting to unleash its fury. Would she step into the unknown, or retreat to the safety of ignorance? Lily's heart thudded, the choice thrumming in the air. What truth lay waiting to be unveiled, and what shocking revelations awaited her on the other side? The seconds dragged on like a tightening noose around Lily's throat. She felt the weight of her father's anxious gaze, all that fear, all that worry layered onto her already heavy heart. Adrian's words echoed in her mind like a siren, luring her toward an abyss she wasn't sure she wanted to confront. Lily? Lawrence's voice, low and trembling, broke through her suffocating thoughts. Please, listen to me. There's a way out of this, a way to protect yourself. We can leave now. Adrian leaned back, crossing his arms, a devilish grin plastered on his face. Run away, Lily. Hide from the truth. But the cost of that escape is your own freedom. Your past will never let you go. You need to understand what happens when the Blackwood name is whispered in darkness. Lily's fingers trembled as she pressed them against her temples, fighting against the mounting pressure in her skull. She wanted to scream. She wanted to shake the truth out of Adrian, to slap the smirk off his face and declare that he was wrong. How could one man unravel everything she thought she knew? And if I choose to face it? She shot back, her voice firmer now, surprising herself. What then? Adrian's eyes sparked with approval. Then you'll uncover secrets that will turn this family legacy on its head. Power, corruption, yes, but also salvation. You could wield the truth like a weapon, not just for yourself, but for others who suffered under the weight of the Blackwood Empire. Around them, the air thickened. Shadows flickered in the corners of the dimly lit room, whispering secrets of their own. It felt as if the walls themselves were leaning closer, eager to eavesdrop on her decision. Lily Lawrence started again, desperation tinged with panic flooding his tone. What about your mother? The family you have, do you want to destroy them? Bringing this to light won't bring any good. It will rip apart everything. Or it could mend what's fractured, Adrian countered smoothly. He stood, transforming into a tempest of motion. Look around you. Your own heart speaks to you, listen to it. The people in this very room would know the truth the moment you walk away. This ancient cycle can't persist forever. Suddenly, a loud crash erupted from outside, startling everyone. A flash of lightning illuminated the room briefly, casting long shadows that danced along the walls. What was that? Lawrence's eyes darted toward the window, concern etching deeper lines into his face. Adrian chuckled darkly. The storm is ready to rage, just like your inner turmoil, Lily. What will you do if it unleashes? He shifted his gaze back to her, his tone shifting to a haunting whisper. Will you brave the storm and unveil the twisted threads of your family's history? Or will you cower under the fear of what you might find? Lily inhaled sharply, tasting the charged air, thick with tension and dread. Images of her family flashed in her mind, laughs over the dinner table, warm hugs at bedtime. But were those memories tainted? Were they real, or were they just polished lies that glimmered under the facade of wealth? Lawrence reached for her, his hand trembling. You're not just anyone to them, Lily. You are the beacon that could illuminate their darkest fears. You have to understand how dangerous this is. In that moment, something inside her snapped. The storm outside didn't mirror the chaos within, it summoned it. What's more dangerous? She questioned, her heart pounding with a newfound determination. Facing the truth or living a lie? Adrian's smile faded slowly, as if the very acknowledgement of her strength dimmed his fiery hunger. Very well, he finally said, a flicker of indecisiveness creeping into his voice. But there's more you need to know. More than just bloodlines and hidden ledgers. Are you ready to uncover what paths lie ahead? The truth isn't always kind, but it's necessary. A gust of wind howled outside, rattling the windows, and something deep inside Lily ignited. She could feel the choice settling over her like a shroud, the risk of forging her path against the heavy weight of legacy. Adrian took a step forward, an intensity flickering in his gaze. Are you willing, Lily? Will you step into the storm with me, toward the truth and the darkness that lies just beyond? As thunder rumbled again, she felt the ground shake beneath her. The air crackled with anticipation, the room closing in on her with fierce urgency. The weight of the choice lurked in the recesses of her mind, surging forward with a promise, a key to a door long kept locked. Lily took a breath, her heart racing as she prepared to answer the impending storm outside, echoing the tempest within her, every fiber of her being drawn toward the exciting unknown. And with that, she glanced at Adrian, the choice burning in her chest. What awaited her beyond the threshold of her family's secrets? Would she truly possess the strength to change everything? The moment stretched on like a taut wire, vibrating with the collective anticipation of the unspoken truth. The air was electric, each heartbeat punctuated by the storm raging outside, mirroring the internal tempest within Lily. She felt the weight of her father's desperate gaze, a silent plea wrapped in fear and protectiveness. What will it be, Lily? Adrian pressed, a dark thrill dancing in his eyes. Step into the storm or stay shackled to the lies? She felt torn, her heart thrumming with doubt. But there, in the depths of her uncertainty, a flicker of resolve ignited. I need to know, she said, her voice steady, filling the room with a fierce determination that surprised even herself. I refuse to live in ignorance. I want to face the truth. Lawrence's heart sank. Lily! He exclaimed, his voice tight with anguish. You don't understand what you're asking for. It could destroy you. But the moment hung in the air, swaying dangerously. A storm of shadows was closing in, whispering through the walls that held generations' worth of secrets. No, Dad. She shot back, her eyes blazing. I want to be free. Not just from Adrian, but from everything you've kept hidden from me. Adrian leaned in, eyes gleaming like a predator spotting prey. That's it, sweet girl. Embrace the confusion, the chaos. You're on the brink of something monumental. Monumental? Lawrence echoed, panic lacing his voice. This is madness. You're both being swept away in currents you can't control. Enough, Lawrence. Adrian snapped, drawing the attention back to himself. This is about Lily now, the truth she deserves to hear. He reached into his pocket and drew out a small, weathered book, its spine cracked and pages frayed. The sight of it sent a chill along Lawrence's spine, recognition flooding in as the weight of its contents pressed heavily against his conscience. This is your legacy, Lily, Adrian continued, holding it out toward her. Your family's history, a history stained with blood and betrayal. For a moment, silence enveloped them. The storm continued its relentless siege outside, thunder rumbling like an ominous warning. Lily reached for the book, her fingers brushing against the worn leather, hesitating as if some invisible force pulled at her. Open it, Adrian urged, his voice low and sweet, coaxing. You'll be astonished by what awaits within. Lily, don't. Lawrence shouted, stepping forward. But she was already flipping through the delicate pages, her breath catching at images of faces long gone, dates scrawled alongside accounts of things too terrible for her to fathom. Names she recognized, twisted through a tapestry that seemed to weave a darker history than she'd ever understood. As she pieced together the fragments of her lineage, the facade she'd known began to fracture. What have you done? She whispered, horror etching deep lines across her youthful face as the truth spilled forth. "This is your birthright," Adrian whispered. "Your family's legacy is filled with power, darkness, and a legacy that echoes through generations. A power you could wield as your own." The panic within Lawrence grew to a fever pitch. "You're twisting everything. Lily, you are not bound to this darkness." Lily looked up at her father, tears brimming in her eyes. "But you never told me I wanted to protect you," he pleaded. "To give you a life devoid of this horror." "Protect me from what?" "From who I really am." She pressed, torn between the childhood she cherished and the family ties that threatened to drown her. The revelation resonated like a somber chord, echoing through the hollow expanse of the room. Realization surged through her, igniting a battle against ignorance. "What do I do?" "Embrace it," Adrian whispered, breathless with fervor. "Channel it for strength." "No!" Lawrence shouted, stepping forward to snatch the book from her hands. "This is not her path." "Which road are you trying to guide her down, Lawrence?" Adrian hissed, a smirk creeping onto his face. "The one littered with your own failures? Or the one leading to a legacy of strength?" "I'm fighting for her to have a choice." Lawrence spat. "Not to drown in the sins of a past she didn't create." In that moment, the air shifted, the storm outside raged on, creating a chorus that drowned out the chaos inside. The walls felt alive, as if the mansion whispered its own long-kept secrets, demanding their liberation. Father Lily's voice trembled, caught between love and betrayal. "I need to decide who I want to be. Not defined by your past, but by my choices." As the pieces clicked into place, a newfound clarity washed over her. In that electrifying moment, she realized the truth of her power lay not just in the legacy Adrian offered, but in the courage to confront it head-on. "I want to know what I'm capable of. I want to flee from this storm." Beneath the tempest brewing inside her, a courageous flicker ignited into flame. "Tell me the truth, Adrian. I'm ready to learn what it really means to be a Blackwood." Adrian's grin widened as he sensed the shift. "Then let us begin, dear Lily, with the full tale of your family and the choices that can be made." As he took a step forward, the storm outside seemed to subside, giving way to an embrace of a fragile calm. Together, they would face the tempest of secrets head-on, unearthing the truth buried deep beneath the shadows of her lineage. Lawrence stood there, heart pounding, a whirlwind of emotions drowning him. He could only watch as Lily stepped boldly toward the foreboding path Adrian laid before her, the magnitude of their family's legacy unfurling like a dark flower beneath the strains of revelation. As the thunder rumbled once more, the hour struck midnight, a formidable reminder of the twists and turns fate could take. The clock was ticking, but this time they weren't running away. Together, they would unearth the truth, confronting the past to forge a new legacy, a power that could change everything. And as the curtains of secrets pulled back, each word whispered in that dimly lit room ignited a flame of possibility, a new dawn for the Blackwood family, ready to step into the storm together. If you loved this thrilling conclusion, now is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe immediately to our channel so you don't miss any of the exclusive stories coming your way. Smash that like button now, it really helps the algorithm and brings you even more content like this. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this dramatic ending. What do you think will happen next? And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support makes all the difference.